Alright, so this is a suggestion from Patreon. The name of the video is the 10 strangest New Year's traditions from around the world. Interesting, right? Let's go ahead and jump into this immediately, guys. Listen, if you are new here, please like and subscribe. The more that you like this content, the more that I know that you specifically would like to see more of this specific type of content, okay? Let's go ahead and check this out, guys.
The world is a large place full of people from all walks of life, so it's no wonder that they choose to ring in the new year in completely different ways. Want to know what rodent they lower from a roof in Brasstown, North Carolina?
Rodent? Is it a rat, potentially?
When the clock strikes midnight, stay tuned to see. If you're new around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to leave an original comment below, and you might get your hands on a $50 Amazon gift card on us. Ooh. Now, let's take a look at 10 strangest New Year's traditions from around the world. Talc smearing, Thailand. Just because this tradition is practiced in
talc, it's baby powder.
In April doesn't mean...
Oh yeah, they rub it on their face and they have like these massive water fights.
And it isn't a New Year's celebration. That's because in Thailand, they ring in the new year with a festival in April. Now that isn't the weird part. The activities that take place during the 3-day Songkran festival, on the other hand, are a bit peculiar. To mark the ending of the dry season, people in this country take to the streets with a literal 3-day water fight. Kids will shoot water guns at each other and pour buckets of water on people. Thai citizens also throw huge amounts of talc. So
this actually sounds super fun. I think that, like, you know, us Americans should definitely, you know, pick up on some of the things that are done outside of the country, right? Some of it is super interesting, guys.
So much so that city streets look like they've been hit with a snowstorm. Eating 12 grapes. Spain.
Now, I live in Spain, and this 12 grape thing is kind of a religion, it seems, guys. Like, every time the bell basically goes off for midnight, right? They literally shove as many grapes into their mouth as humanly possible. They do not have time to chew or swallow them. So imagine, they just look like their cheeks are full, like chipmunks, guys. Right? I mean, it's cool.
There are many New Year's traditions involving food. You might eat cabbage and black-eyed peas if you grew up in Western culture. But if you grew up in Spain and other parts of Europe, you may pop 12 grapes at the stroke of midnight. This tradition goes back for generations. When the clock strikes 12, people in this country try to eat a grape every time the bell chimes, for a total of 12 grapes. Sounds easier than it actually is. The reasoning behind this strange tradition is to bring good luck to the next 12 months ahead. You can easily incorporate this interesting New Year's routine to your NYE party for a lucky new year. Molten 10, Finland. We aren't sure.
Oh, guys, roughly 6 years ago, I was in Tampere, right, in Finland. And basically what they do here is they get like these aluminum foil, not aluminum foil, tin, molten tin is what they're saying here. But it's not molten tin. It's like a shape of like an animal or something, right? And they melt it down, and then they kind of like pull it out, and it's in all these weird shapes, and they try to forecast what your year is going to be based off of the actual shape itself of like this abstract art, right? It's interesting, you know. That's kind of, well, I wouldn't say we should incorporate that because it's kind of a fire hazard, but you know, it's a cool thing that they do there.
Party for a lucky new year. Molten 10, Finland. We aren't sure how or why Finnish people keep molten tin lying around, but they need it for this next tradition. Every New Year's, Finnish people melt miniature tin horses in a pan. Then they take the molten tin and pour it into cold water. The tin then hardens again upon hitting the water. After that, the new shape is taken and interpreted. Whatever the shape may be, it is supposed to be.
Yeah, it looks like kind of this weird abstract thing.
Be an indicator of the person's wealth, health, or happiness for the coming year. Bread thumping, Ireland. As we said, there are many New Year's traditions involving food. Most of the time, it's what people eat that makes it pretty weird. But in Ireland, they aren't eating their food on New Year's Day. Instead, they are using it to ward off bad luck and bad spirits. Every New Year's, people in Ireland take loaves of hard bread and smack it against the wall. This is in the hopes that the loud noise will keep bad luck out of their homes. Sounds like a noisy tradition, but if it means 12 months of good luck, we don't see the harm. Plate smashing.
That's a cool one.
Denmark. Smashing plates or ceramics during celebrations isn't unheard of.
Right.
Many countries around the world do this for many different reasons and occasions.
I think the Greeks do it.
But in Denmark, after the clock strikes midnight, if you have a pile of smashed china outside your door, you might be pretty popular. That's because in this country, people gather their chipped china and throw it at their friends' doors. This is supposed to bring luck and everlasting friendship to the relationship.
If you didn't know that that was a thing, I'm pretty sure you'd be offended.
It's also supposed to release and relieve any grievances from the previous year. That means the bigger the pile that sits outside your door, the more people love you.
Oh.
Underwater tree planting. Siberia. If you've
Underwater
ever been to
tree
Russia
planting.
during the holiday season, you probably notice a plethora of Christmas trees. But you would be mistaken if you thought they were put up to celebrate Christmas. That's because there's a pretty good chance the decorated trees you saw were actually New Year's trees, also known as yolkas. The yolka, translated to fir tree, has been used in New Year's celebrations for centuries. But in Siberia, they like to do something bizarre with their yolkas on New Year's Day.
Oh, I'm
In a
interested.
region of this part of Russia, divers take to the negative 49 degrees water to set up a decorated
They definitely had to point out the temperature, bro. Negative 49 degrees? No, thank you.
yolka on the floor of a
It's a lot of shrinkage,
nearby
bro.
lake. We aren't quite sure how this tradition started, but it sounds pretty extreme,
Yeah.
even for Russian standards.
It's extreme,
Graveyard
bro.
shift. Chile. The holidays may be a time to reflect on the family and friends we have lost throughout the years. It's always tough celebrating without them. Because of that, the people of Talca, Chile have taken matters into their own hands. Instead of being sad about their loved ones who have passed, they decide to spend New Year's with them. Literally, the citizens of this town spend the night in the graveyards of their friends.
What?
New Year's with them. Literally, the citizens of this town
Listen, every culture is different. Respect, right? But what? Okay.
spend the night in the graveyards of their friends and family members who have passed away. They say it not only brings peace to their hearts, but also good luck for the coming year. Kissathon. Venice. After the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Day, there is a pretty good chance people will be kissing all over the world.
Yeah.
It's one of the most popular New Year's traditions after all. But in Venice, they are taking things to a whole other level. That's because year after year, tens of thousands of people flock to an outdoor celebration in St. Mark's Square. And at midnight, they all participate in a collective New Year's Eve kissathon. So if you and your bae are looking for an interesting place to ring in the new year, Venice is the place to be.
Right.
Binge eating. Estonia. If you are a foodie, then listen up, because you might want to head to Estonia for your New Year's celebration. The people in this country like to binge eat on New Year's, and the number of meals you have that day matters. 7, 9, and 12 are supposed to be the luckiest amount of meals to eat on New Year's Day. It is believed the number of times you stuff your face is the amount of strength you will have the following year. It's also okay to not finish your whole plate. Leaving a little left over is believed to make your ancestors happy. Possum dropping.
Possum droppings or possum dropping?
North Carolina.
Oh, this is the rodent.
Pretty
Yes.
much everyone has heard about the
All
big
right.
New Year's Eve celebration in New York City. They also know when midnight comes around, the big ball of lights will drop from Times Square. Because of this, many other places have taken to dropping things at midnight. And in Brasstown, North Carolina, that is a possum. It all started over 2 decades ago when a local shop owner, Clay Logan, decided the possum was the town's mascot. He
Oh,
got the
he
bright idea
decided.
to ring in the new year by lowering one of these large rodents from the roof of his store at midnight. It proved to be successful as thousands of people gather each year to witness this strange tradition. What other strange New Year's traditions did we miss? Let us know.
All right. Cool. Right? I mean, listen, this is what I guess brings us all together and then also at the same time makes us different, right? There's absolutely so many different cultures that do so many different things on a regular basis. What some people may think is normal, other people think is crazy. Personally, I wouldn't be, I don't know, binge eating on New Year's Eve, but it sounds like a good idea. Why not, right? But hey, listen, Let me know in the comments of the next thing from, I guess, any of this type of content at least that you would like for me to see. And I'll get into that as soon as I can. All right. Listen, you guys all have an amazing day, and obviously a happy new year. Yes. Enjoy it.